Hey guys, it's Jake. So in today's video, I don't really have a script for this, and I've already recorded it once and didn't like how it turned out, so I'm re-recording it, and that's always a good sign that this video is going to be a good one, right? So just bear with me. As of the time of this recording, I've only done Therion, Albric, and Primrose's Octopath Traveler demos, Therion being from the most recent demo, the Prologue demo. I still have 5 other characters that I need to play through and record. I have played through them off camera, I just haven't recorded them. I've at least played everyone twice, minus Albric and Primrose because I played them multiple times on the original demo. But I have at least played everyone twice, and I have already gotten my save file for the full game when it comes out. So I'm not really going to be touching my demo and like saving it and stuff again, since I have a really good file for the final product. Excuse me, I'm running out of breath. So, whew, this is what happens when you talk for 40 minutes straight and then you just kind of scrap it all together. So again, I apologize. Anyway, so there's 2 main things I'm going to be talking about from the Prologue demo that kind of do need to be addressed about the full game. I know that when I just said that, it made it sound like it was a very negative thing, but I assure you this is both good and bad. Essentially, this is a review of a demo. This is a review of a game demo that's coming out in 3 weeks. So personally, I have not had the time to sit down, record, and everything else I want to do for the remaining 5 demos. I know that a lot of people during summer break, mainly in the States, and I'm sure in the UK and stuff it works the same way, but I know in Australia that their school's system is different. But anyway, here in the States, my schedule is much different than other people's. A lot of people say that, school, school semesters, from August to December and then from January to April or May is really busy because you have school, you have tests, you have finals, you have this, you have that, you have projects due, yada yada yada, and then you have work and stuff on top of that. So I can understand that. And then summer is just kind of like heaven, like you have all this time off and stuff like that. For me, it's quite the opposite. I have a lot of time in my school hours. I'm homeschooled, so I'm extremely flexible with my hours. So if you guys are hiring for anything that I'm capable with, just let me... No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so in my summers is really what gets me busy. Throughout my summer vacations, I spend about half and half time with both sets of my grandparents, so I'm never really at one place for any more than 3 or 4 days. So there's not really a whole lot of time. Well, here's the thing. Even when I do set up my Switch and PlayStation and laptop and anything else that I want to record, I don't have the time to record it because we're always also doing something else. So we go to an amusement park or we go to a water park or stuff like that. So even when I do have everything set up, I don't have the time to actually do anything with that stuff unless it's 1 in the morning. Right now it's actually 12 o'clock at night on New York time, and normally I'm in Central, which is Chicago. So not only am I an hour ahead than normal, but I'm also from where I am from, going from Chicago to New York time constantly, you're losing an hour of your life. You gain that hour back when you return back to the time zone, but still, guys, that's just what I'm saying. So, I guess we could just say that the time zones messed me up, but that's not really what happened. So, anyway, this is the first time over the past 2 weeks that I've actually been able to sit down and record, and even then, it's close to midnight. Now, I've recorded past midnight before, but I haven't done it when, family has been like this, if that makes any sense. So, that's kind of why I haven't done the other Octopath Traveler demos as of the time of this recording. Now, I'm wanting to get this video out, the day or 2 before the full game of Octopath Traveler comes out. So this is going to be a late review of the Prologue demo, but it's just in time for the game's full release. So yeah, by the time that this video comes out, hopefully I've had time to sit down and actually do the other 5 demos and record them. Now, I have played all of them off screen at least twice by now. I just haven't obviously done them with recording software, but I'm planning on doing that. And the other thing is, I can only play the same demo so many times until I just want to skip cutscenes. But for the sake of the video, I can't skip cutscenes. That's the issue. So, but anyway, I digress. So I'm actually going to be starting my review of the Prologue demo here. So sorry for all that extra stuff. I'm sure that I've, made like a skippable thing for you guys. But anyway, so here's the actual demo. So I'm going to be splitting up this review into two parts. I'm going to talk about gameplay, and then I'm going to be talking about overarching story. Now these were two things that a lot of people, specifically me on the latter, have been worried about for the game. So a lot of people say that the gameplay is too slow. It doesn't look fresh because it's an older inspired game. It's an indie inspired RPG. To kind of say exactly what it is, an indie inspired RPG, which turns off a lot of people because it's not new high def graphics and everything else. But one of the main issues with the gameplay was just that's what it was. I feel like that's not necessarily an issue now, and then that in itself is what a lot of people enjoy of the game, is its gameplay on how it's traditional, JRPG style, just turn-based game. So it's got magic, it's got swords, it's got different weapon classes, it's got different character classes and stuff and more. So it's really going all in with its roots, which is super good, and I really do love that. But the other thing is overarching story, which I don't really hear a whole lot of people talk about. For example, I like to theorize story elements and plots a lot. That's really why I think I fit in with the Kingdom Hearts community, even though a lot of times people can not listen. But anyway, that's a whole different video, guys. But yeah, so for Octopath Traveler, I've really been curious on... Wow, that was like French or something there, guys. But I have been really curious on exactly how each and every character's story kind of overlaps and has to deal with one another. And this new demo does kind of shed a little bit more light on that. Now, they didn't 100% say, yes, this character will meet this character here, then, and how. They didn't do that because that would be spoiling the game, or that would be spoiling us on the full game and its contents and everything else. But they did sprinkle a little bit of that, saucy sauce and stuff on us, which I am really thankful for because I was extremely curious. And in the back of my mind, I did have the idea, are they just gonna make 8 separate stories of this game and not have an overarching story? I was really worried that that's what they were going to end up doing. Because Square, throughout the past 5 years, hasn't been doing that great of a job with its not game development. Game development has been okay, but with game marketing, it's kind of been eh. So, and that's nothing against Square Enix, that's just kind of like a normal established thing. They have kind of been off their rocker for about 5 years or so. But anyway, whew, sorry. So I was really worried for this game. I was worried that there wasn't going to be an overarching story. Now, even if there was or wasn't, I still would have loved the game just because it is a traditional RPG with a fresh new look, with a fresh new take. I would have loved it regardless. But now that I do have confirmation that these stories do overarch and branch from one to another, I am really excited. So let's go back to the gameplay, and I'll talk about that. And then I'll go back to overarching story because that's the, I guess, more important part for me. But this is more important. This is the more important part for people who are actually playing the game just for the sake of playing the game, for the battle system and stuff. So there are 3 characters in the game, or specifically 2, but I count the third one to be just as in the sake of the context that I'm about to explain. There are 3 characters that are extremely overpowered in the game. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to guess them, and then I'll just tell you what they are off the bat, and then you can kind of debate with me in the comments, I guess. But so yeah, I'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3. I need to scratch my arm. 3, 2. Oh, that felt good. 1. Okay, so the 3 most broken characters of the demo so far, or excuse me, just of the game so far, are Cyrus, Tressa, and Therion. So those are the most broken ones no matter what you say, and I'm going to explain why. So the whole deal with all 8 characters is that while 4 of them share the main overworld abilities with the other 4, they all do have unique abilities that's unique to them, regardless of their evil or good, rogue or noble counterparts. They all have 1 unique ability for the 8 of them. Cyrus's is called Study Foe, and it allows you at the beginning of a battle to exploit one weakness of all enemies you're fighting. So this is extremely powerful because not the whole premise of the game's battle mechanic, but one of the things that they were pressing extremely hard in the first 3 trailers, I believe, was the idea that you're just going to be wildly attacking your enemies until you find attacks that kind of fit and stick, and you realize, oh, this works, I'll use this attack more. That was kind of the whole idea behind just how the battles were going to be working with their strength and weakness system, which is good. That's okay. But they have a character that's specifically designed to counteract that. So don't get me wrong, it's a very tactical ability. It's extremely strong, it's very strategic, and it is kind of, I guess, some meat on a bone to the more competitive players that like to play single-player RPGs. Which it's cool, but for the sake of an RPG, it is extremely overpowered. It'd be like having a Pokemon that can make all of its attacks super effective. That's kind of what it's like, not specifically, but that's just kind of what it's like. So yeah, there's that. That's Cyrus. The other is Tressa. Tressa is extremely broken because of her hired help ability. No matter how much you boost it, which means no matter how stronger you make it, the price that you pay for the mercenary, for the dancer, for anyone else that you buy to help you in battle, which, by the way, the NPCs do a lot of damage, they're broken. So basically, I believe that the cheapest one that you can buy is a mercenary for $50, 50 cents, whatever the currency's called. I believe that the cheapest you can buy is a mercenary for 500 or 100, something like that. So it's extremely cheap, but it's super powerful. Basically, what it does as Boost 1, Stage 1, whatever you want to call it. Ooh, I lost breath. Anyway, is that you attack all enemies that you're fighting with a sword-based attack, and then you increase your team's defense for 2 turns, like one-fold or two-fold, whatever. Which is it's okay. It's a really strong attack for its price, but it's good. So you can boost it, which means that you'll attack twice with a sword or with a mercenary, and your defense will be 4 times doubled, or just 4 times better, for 4 turns. For the same price. Even though you boost it and you make it stronger, it's still the same price. And then you can do the same thing again 3 times over. You can do the same thing again 4 times over. And of course, that's the max. But that's just the mercenary. You can do the same thing for the dancer. You can do the same thing for just the other hiring options. Which is, again, guys, super broken. Now, it does require money. So it is limited to actually how much in-game currency you have. But this isn't a problem. Because Tressa's unique ability is that whenever she enters a new area, or not necessarily new area, but whenever she leaves one area in the overworld and then enters another one, there's a high probability that she'll find, give or take, $300 to $700. For a character who summons broken NPCs by paying like 50 cents. Yeah, that's how broken it is. So I think that they do need to kind of nerf this or study foe. Probably hired help, in all honesty. I feel like that's kind of where it needs to be nerfed. And specifically, I think that whenever you boost hired help, I think that the price needs to double. So for mercenaries, I believe it's 100 to hire one mercenary. So when you boost it once, it'll become 200. When you boost it again, it'll be 400. And then when you boost it again, it'll be 800. I think that that's honestly the best way to nerf hired help. It may be a bit too much of a nerf, but for what you're actually dealing in damage is super, super, super broken. So another thing that they could do, which would be just as effective, would be to nerf the NPCs that you're summoning. Primrose has this problem, Ophelia has this problem, but none of them have this problem like Tressa does. So, I mean, Ophelia I don't think is going to be used as much as Primrose is, just because Primrose, I think, is a better character. So that's just my opinion. So anyway, I feel like Truss is the one that kind of does need to be toned down out of the 3 NPC summoners of the party. And then the last one being Therion, and he's only broken because he can get free items from NPCs, but that is kind of balanced out by the rogue mechanic, and every time you fail, it gets harder and harder to do, and your reputation falls, and if it falls so much, you can't actually steal from people anymore, so then you have to go to the bar, and then you have to, hire the barkeep to spread good rumors about you, but the more times you do that, the more expensive it gets, no matter what town you're in. So Therion is kind of balanced out, but it is still super powerful. It is definitely the most balanced of the three, but that's also saying that it's the most balanced broken character. So take that as you want it. I need to actually plug up my laptop because it's dying as I'm recording, so technical difficulties, guys. Okay, so I'm back, but I do have some bad news. My charger cord is on the verge of not working, so I'm going to have to invest in a new MacBook charger. So yes, I am a filthy MacBook user. But as I was saying, so Therion is the most balanced of the three brokenest characters of the game. So that's that. Those are my opinions gameplay wise on the thing. Everything else of the demo gameplay wise that was shown is perfectly fine. Those are just three really overbearing things that I did notice throughout those three characters. And Therion's isn't really a problem, it's just that Cyrus and Tressa are so overpowered. Now, I'm not saying that as in like they did a bad job. I mean, the game's beautiful, the game is great. I'm just saying that these characters are a bit broken, and they probably do need to be nerfed. I'm not complaining if they're not, but realistically speaking, they probably should be touched upon a little bit. And if they don't, that's not a bad thing. So, I mean, I love Square Enix, I'm a huge fan of their work. Kingdom Hearts, a little bit of Final Fantasy, and Octopath Traveler mainly. Or not mainly, but newly Octopath Traveler. So, I mean, I'm going to be happy whether they nerf it or not, but it probably does need nerfed. Next, for story elements. Okay, so I'm not going to be explaining every single character's story, because that will be taking a lot of time. So, I would encourage you guys to watch my hour-long videos on each and every single character demos, because I'm a poor white kid who needs money to grow up in the hood, guys. So please help your ginger white friend. Thanks, senpai. So anyway, as for the stories are concerned, I think I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I was concerned that the characters' individual stories would not actually cross over branch with each other in any way, shape, or form. That was one thing I was worried about, but I do have kind of clarification or confirmation from the Prologue demo that that's not the case. Specifically, we got direct verbal and visual proof from Cyrus's demo. So in the beginning of Cyrus's demo, he's actually teaching the local princess, the quote-unquote local princess, and this other girl, whose name is like, not Teresa, but it is Teresa. Anyway, I think it's like Teresa. It's like a mix of Tressa, who's a playable character, and Teresa, which is the name of my aunt. So, so yeah, guys. But anyway, so you teach these two kids, and you're actually telling them about this fallen kingdom that was actually up and at 'em like 10 years ago, which is, or 10, 20, however many years ago. But I believe it's the same kingdom that Albric fought for like 8-10 years ago, however long his demo was. But honestly, I do really think that they're connected. I can't remember if they were specifically, but I could have sworn. Like, I'm willing to bet that they are connected. But the other thing is that the main three antagonists, well, it's one group of people, but they're three individual people. It's the Holy Trinity, guys. Of Primrose's demo, which I believe that they're like code name, street name, gang name, whatever, is the Black Crows. One of them does show up at the end of Cyrus's demo to kind of see Cyrus's way out of town. They're stalking him, they're watching him, they're making sure that he leaves town. Something is up with that, which I did like. When I saw the Black Crow member, I was relieved. I was like, oh, thank the Sacred Flame from Ophelia's demo that we do have over-branching plots. So, with the Black Crow showing up in Cyrus's demo, I was great. I was honestly great. I was ecstatic. I was happy that the plots do seem to be overarching. Whether or not all of them do is yet to be revealed, but I do think that they all do in some way, shape, or form. Whew. So, now, next up, I think that Alphen and Tressa's demos do kind of mix up too. In Alphen's demo, or Alphen, whatever, In Alphen's demo, he's an apothecary, which is a doctor, and so basically, because medicine isn't really, like, in pills and stuff yet, he makes it out of herbs and whatnot. I don't know if that's an apothecary limited thing, like using natural ingredients, but that's just what he does. So, he's an apothecary, and he uses stuff out of natural ingredients and whatnot, and his main reason for being an apothecary is that so many years ago, I believe it was 10 years ago, a whole decade before the events of the game, this random man who was also an apothecary saved him from illness, of like an unknown illness, and did it with ease. So that's why Alphen is an apothecary, is because he looks up to this random man. And so in Tressa's demo, Tressa meets this really humble treasure hunter guy, and then her village gets invaded by these pirates. She fends the pirates off, or she fends against them, tricks them into drinking this really, not poison, but for lack of a better word, poisoned wine, or rum, whatever you want to call it. And so they all fall asleep, so she goes in to kind of get back what the pirates and bandits stole. But to her, to us players' surprise, or not surprise, excuse me, the pirates / bandits wake up and they attack her. Sure enough, you win, but in the cutscene afterwards, they're still like kicking and stuff. So that's when the humble pirate man saves you, or the humble treasure hunter guy saves you. So then you guys go back to village because you succeeded in getting back what they had stolen. So you go back and the treasure hunter guy is like, oh, since you did so good job, I'll let you have anything that you want from my ship. So out of all the treasures and stuff that this guy has, she decides that she wants this rusty old journal from a nameless just adventurer. We know from Alphen's demo that the apothecary came into the village from nowhere and then just left. He didn't stay. He's an adventurer. He's a wanderer. And then we also know that the guy who owns this book was the same thing. Now, Tressa's whole drive is that she wants to finish the other half of the book. The book is only halfway made, and it's just got this random guy's journeys in it. So her drive is that she wants to have a story of her own to write in this book and then to finish it off. Personally, I think that it is the same man from Alphen's demo, the apothecary, the guy who saved him. However, the main thing that's kind of reeling me away is that the guy from Tressa's demo seems to be a treasure hunter, and the guy from Alphen's is confirmed to be an apothecary. So I'm not saying that it's definitely not the same guy, but the likelihood is kind of 50-50 on that, probably more 40-60, but that's a theory of mine that it's the same person. That the owner of the book and the apothecary who healed Alphen are the same. What was the other theory? Oh yeah, the other theory is that Therion and everybody else's minus Albrich's story line up. Okay, so in Honnet's story, a year before the events of the game, her master, mentor, tutor, whatever you want to call it, goes out on a hunting trip and hasn't returned. He was hired to go hunting by this extremely rich family. So, I'm sure that the demo actually does give you like a name of a family or where they're from, but I can't remember it. So for now, I'm just speculating whether or not it's been confirmed or not, and I apologize for being ill-informed. But I think that it's the same rich family that blackmails Therion at the end of his... that blackmails Therion at the end of his demo. So in Therion's demo, at the end of it, he gets blackmailed because he gets caught by this butler and this mayor that he tries to steal from. But he gets caught, and so he gets blackmailed into stealing 3 stolen heirlooms that the family has had for generations. So they originally have 4, but they have 1 of them, and the other 3 are missing. So the rich family there, they blackmail him. They say, haha, you didn't steal from us, so now you're a dishonored thief. In order to regain your honor, you need to steal back our family heirlooms. So he's like, okay, whatever. So he goes out to steal the 3 heirlooms for this rich family. So personally, I think that the same rich family that's hired Honnet's mentor is the same rich family that is blackmailing Therion. Now, it's not like a ha-ha, you suck kind of blackmail. It's a please help us, we don't know what else to do, and we've put you in a corner because we're begging. So that's kind of, it's like a pity blackmail. Anyway, so Therion also is stealing these 3 dragon orbs. In Primrose's demo, at the beginning of her demo, we see that her dad is killed by these 3 people. that have a crow-like tattoo. I believe one of them has the right wing of a crow, one of them has a left wing, and then the third has a crow head tattoo on his chest. Whew, excuse me. So, there's three main antagonists for Primrose's demo. Personally, I believe that they, or their lackeys, because I'm sure that they like have a clan or whatever that they kind of lead. But personally, I think that they stole the 3 Dragon Soul Stones, just whatever they're called, from the rich family that hired Honet's mentor and blackmailed Therion. I think that those 3 stories are connected. And then, of course, at the end of Cyrus's demo, we see one of the men with the black crow tattoos watching Cyrus leave town. And the whole thing with Cyrus is that the reason why he's leaving town is because he was blackmailed into getting good with his student, which was the princess. But that wasn't the case, so he was leaving town anyway. But while he was in town, he discovered that this book was missing for 15 years. So when they told him, yep, you can't work here anymore because you're having an affair with your student, he says, well, I'm quitting anyway, to go find your 15-year-old lost book. You can thank me later, and I'll return it because I'm a good person. So that's Cyrus's demo. I think, for whatever reason, I think that the 15-year-old book that's been missing are scribes and instructions on how to use the Dragon Soul Stones. I don't know why. I don't know why the Black Crows would have it for 15 years. Maybe it's been tossed and turned from owner to owner. Maybe the Black Crows didn't steal it and they just ended up with it. But I think that it's Dragonstone related. And so that's why it hasn't been returned, obviously, because the Black Crows ended up with it. So I think that they have it, and I think that that's why a Black Crow member was watching Cyrus leave, because they know that he's after the book, and they possibly have it. So personally, that's why I think that those all intertwine. The only issue that I'm having is Ophelia and Albrecht. These are the only 2 characters whose stories don't seem to cross with anybody else's. Ophelia's whole thing is that she wants to lead her religion group. She wants to go out and lead her religious tribe, I guess, if you want to call it that, and convert them all to the Sacred Flame religion. The church that they worship in reminds me a lot of a Catholic church, so if I ever call the Sacred Flame religion Catholic, or if I ever call the people Catholic, I apologize by all means, but that's just what I call them. I guess it's like Sky Does Minecraft's calling gold butter, or whoever came up with that. But anyway, that's I'm sure I'm gonna get ripped for that. But anyway, and then Albrecht's demo has Aaronhart, who is his old comrade, kill their king. And then the reason why he leaves town is to go find Aaronhart and seek revenge. Those are the only 2 characters that I couldn't link up with anybody else. So I'm really confused on how exactly they're going to intertwine. Especially Ophelia's, because hers is just more like, I guess, like she doesn't have a goal. Like, she doesn't have something that she's going out to achieve, and when she's done, she's done. Like, the thing that she's trying to do is convert people to her religion. And personally, as a Christian, that's not something that's like yep, I've done that today, and then you check that on your to-do list, and then you're done. That's not something that you're done with. So, I'm not exactly sure how Ophelia, or specifically, I'm not sure how her story is able to really do that, whereas everybody else does seem to kind of have that checkmark thing, minus Alphen, because his whole thing is that he wants to heal people, and again, you're not going to heal everybody, so like you can't really check that off. But everybody else besides Ophelia and Alphen seem to have very clear goals. But again, I've kind of linked Alphen to Tressa, so I'm not concerned about him. Ophelia I am concerned about, because I don't know how she's going to really mix in with everybody else. Now I'm hoping that she does, but Aaronhart too. I think that Aaronhart may be in league with the Black Crows. I think that that's why he killed him, or his and Albrecht's king, because he decided to side with the Black Crows and they offered him a deal that he couldn't refuse. Possibly that included the Dragonstones, but I do think that if he is in league with the Black Crows, I think that Aaronhart's going to turn on them. I think that he's going to get the all-mystic power of the Sacred Flame that happens to be involved with the Dragonstone somehow. Okay, that's probably how Ophelia's story mixes in with everybody else, is that the Sacred Stones or excuse me, the sacred flame that she worships, because the sacred flame was given to her to her village by one of these mystical gods. I think that the dragon orbs are related to those gods and somehow, or maybe just specifically the sacred flame that she worships. And that maybe like the god that gave them the sacred flame left these dragon stones as well, and that 3 of them have been stolen. So I'm like really grasping for straws here, guys. But anyway, so but maybe, yeah. So specifically, what I think is going to happen is I think that Ironheart is in league with the Black Crows. I think that he turns on them and he gets the power of the sacred flame / dragon soul stones, and he's the final boss. Personally, I think that's what it is. I don't think that there's this like supernatural dark force at hand who's working behind everything, who's controlling the Black Crows, who's made a deal, who is the devil, who the Black Crows have like made a deal with. I don't think that there is this supernatural being like there was in Persona 5 or anything else. I really do think it's as straightforward as a greedy villain. I think that that's pretty much what it is, and I'm going to be fine with it. If that's what it is, then really cool. I think that's going to be cool. I would like to be surprised. I really do hope that the main villain is a character that we haven't seen, or is a character that we've seen. I don't want it to be this kind of like, oh, yep, this random guy's the villain. But it would be cool if that one traveler who at the beginning of every demo that you play, what's his name? He's or her name, whatever. It's the character that's like fainting outside of your town, and you have to give him a healing grape in order to like get something. Lynn, I think their name might have been. But yeah, watch them be the villain. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, so anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. That's all I've got for this video. I know that this was probably a bit longer, but hey, I'm reviewing a demo for a game that we know little about story-wise. So, whew. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This is Jake, logging out. Peace.